Hello you guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Zoe and I make content focused on reaching your goals and finding balance. So if that is something that you are also working towards, then you are in the right place. You may notice we're actually in a little bit of a different location today. I'm actually back home with my parents for the holidays, which is so nice. I'm down in Texas. It's so much warmer than up near New York City, which has just been such a vacation, honestly. However, in today's video, I'm actually going to be taking you guys back a couple of weeks ago now, actually, to the weekend of the New York City Marathon, which, side note, has me very much deliberating if I want to do a marathon for my next, fitness goal, but we'll circle back to that. That is besides the point of today's video. I wanted to take you guys through what a weekend of spending looks like in my life as somebody who is living just outside of New York City and just trying to find the right balance between saving and spending. That being said, I will caveat this with the fact that I actually have a Bilt credit card, which if you've heard of Bilt, it's a really cool credit card. I think they're about to change their terms and things, but basically I got it because you're able to earn points when you pay your rent with it, which I found to be really, really cool and great because then I can use those points to travel back and forth from Texas to New York a lot of the time, or New York to England, since that is the majority of places that I tend to travel on a regular basis. But not only does the Bilt card let you get points on rent, it actually always has a bonus on the first of the month where all of the points are doubled. So something that I tend to do just to maximize my points and my spending is to try to hold off on making bigger purchases for the month until it is the first of the month so that I can get those bonuses whenever I use my Bilt card on that day. So for example, on the weekend that I'm about to show you guys, I needed some new makeup and some clothes that I wanted to get for work. So I made sure to wait until the first to spend that money. So I definitely did spend a little bit more on the first than I typically would, but that is because I'm very particular about wanting to wait and spend some of my more fun money on that day. So just keep that in mind while we hop into the video. Good morning and welcome back to a new vlog. This weekend I'm going to take you along with me. I want to show you kind of what a typical weekend looks like in terms of my spending. So we're going to go through everything that I spend money on during the weekend. So first things first, I am about to head to a ballet class. I haven't decided if I'm going to stay for the point class afterwards, but the ballet class itself is $20. So already I believe in the house and that balance just goes up. Okay, I'm in my car now. I just finished with the ballet class. I wanted to film something during it, but it's a ballet class and I go straight into point, and I shouldn't have been pathetic and I should have just stayed for point, but I didn't sign up in advance, and then I was we ran over. It's it's a whole thing to sign up, and so I was you know what, I'm just not gonna stay for point. My point shoes are so dead. I need new ones if I want to do a point class. I feel other dancers might understand that. I feel with a point class you really want pretty strong shoes because you're really trying to yes, roll through your feet, but you're also trying to teach yourself strength and stuff, but you wind up staying up on your toes for a really long time, and a pair of dead shoes is not what I want to be using for that. So honestly, if I think about it, that might be another little money that I spend is buying new point shoes if I can find some online to order. Typically I go into the city and will buy a pair, but it's usually only if I'm in the city already. And while I am going in tomorrow for the marathon, I'm gonna go watch. I don't think I'm gonna have time to stop by there. So yeah, but the class was good. I'm glad I went. I felt a lot better than I was expecting. I thought I was gonna feel awful because I stayed up late last night and then was drinking and whatever because it was Halloween. But it felt really good. I'm really glad that I went though. And I feel I'm starting to meet more people at this studio, which is really nice as well because it's always more fun whenever you kind of are friendly with people. It is quite a lot later now. I just got myself some lunch even though it's literally almost 4 o'clock. Better late than never. I got myself a couple of samosas from an Indian restaurant nearby. I love these things and they're actually a really good price. These are only $7 each. So because I had it delivered, it was an extra $5. So I think it cost me $13 total in the end. But I'm so excited to eat these. Saturday's total spending came out to $197.78, which definitely kind of sounds like a decent chunk of money, but as I mentioned before, I purposely saved some bigger purchases for this day so that I can maximize my points. In addition to the Bilt credit card, I also have another credit card that's just like a cashback credit card with Bank of America, and I tend to use that on a more regular basis. I like to have the cashback personally over points in a lot of situations because to me, they kind of even out in a lot of cases, maybe not in all, but in my head, I like to have the money back. That being said, I am on the verge of potentially getting like a travel credit card or buying into like the Amex Chase world. I don't know for sure if that's something that I want to do because I am pretty hesitant when it comes to actually paying an annual fee for a credit card because so far all of my credit cards have been free and I like that. I don't know how I feel about an annual fee, even though I know that if you work hard and you do the right things, they do pay off. But I'm like, is the effort worth that? And then if I don't manage to like pay it back, is it still worth it? So if you guys have any advice for me on that front, if you have tried any of those like Amex, Chase, or any like travel credit cards that you recommend, I would love to hear about them. So please comment about them down below. Now, I also just feel like in the interest of finding balance and striving for balance in all things, this video is very much focused on spending, but I also want to touch a little bit on my saving habits. I do track every penny that I spend, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later in how I actually budget on a monthly basis, but when it comes to savings, there are two things that have really made a big difference for me. Actually, maybe three. The first is just like automating, making sure that you are actually putting your money into savings for your retirement. So like my 401k, my Roth IRA, even my HSA, like all of that happens like through my work. And so that all gets dumped in and I'm trying to work on getting to the point where I can max out those accounts every year. That is definitely a goal of mine for 2026 especially. The next though, on a more month-to-month basis, and like I'm actively working on my savings versus like the other stuff is all automated and it's happening and I don't even have to think about it. But in terms of the stuff I actually do think about, number one is using sinking funds. I cannot tell you how much I love using sinking funds. It just makes me feel so much better whenever something big comes up that I can just take that money out of my sinking fund instead of taking it out of like whatever my monthly income is. It makes it feel so much better. Some of the sinking funds that I have include an emergency fund. I think this is top priority if you can. Next, I have like a house fund and like a life events fund for like things that I want to save up towards in the future. I also have a couple of more like fun funds. I have like a flight fund, a vacation fund, and then for me personally, because some of the things that I really enjoy are things like triathlon and running and ballet and things like that, I have like a fitness fund. So I only put like a tiny little amount of money into this every month. It's not like I'm prioritizing that smaller one, but it is kind of nice because then it's like, okay, if I decide I want to do a big purchase for like, say I want a new watch or I recently got like a bike trainer, like I could use the money in that sinking fund rather than just like my general money, and it's like it's already been allocated towards that and I feel good about all of the rest of the balance of my savings. So it's like there's no problem in just taking the money out of there and spending it on something to treat myself. Now, when it comes to these sinking funds, something that I also really like to do is having a standard value that you want to put in and then having like a stretch value that you want to put in. Now, for me, the standard value is going to be the amount that I'm putting in on the first of the month, no matter what. So I allocate in my head, obviously, because I get my paycheck throughout the month. But I allocate, I'm like, okay, if my goal for my emergency fund, let's say I want to be putting in at least $300 a month, but up to potentially like $500 if I have that money sitting around, which would be lovely. But I would put then $300 in and just assume that that money is already tucked away and in that fund on the first of the month. And I won't even consider that as potential to be budgeting out for my just general monthly expenses because it's already in that emergency fund. Then as the month goes on, I have my own spending, I have my own things that I'm working on and I'm doing and I'm buying things, and maybe something comes up and maybe I don't have another $200 to put in there to hit my $500 goal, even though I planned it to go in there. It's like sometimes you just need a little bit of flexibility. So maybe I only put $100 in there at the end of the month because I had a health expense come up that I had to pay for. So for me, it's like I'm allowing myself to have a little bit more flexibility in the amount that I'm saving, because it's like, yes, I want to make sure that I'm hitting my goals, and I'm doing that by making sure that I put in at least $300 a month. But I also need to account for the fact that my life can be kind of crazy sometimes, and I can't always put in the full $500. And this allows me to plan for that $500 while still giving myself a little bit of flexibility there. So those are the two things that have really helped change the game for me in terms of my savings. Okay, with all that said, let's hop into Sunday. So good at running. They're so speedy.
I want to start running again.
I know. This is going to be us next year. Running in the universe.
We're putting it into the universe. We're manifesting it for ourselves.
We have made it to Central Park. We had to go on a hunt for a charger.
We got it though.
We got it. It's charging.
Now my phone isn't dead.
Yeah, so now we are approaching the end of the course. Also, look how pretty Central Park is behind me. Look how pretty Christina is.
The flowers are.
Oh my gosh. Okay, apologies for a little bit of a crazy vlog during the day on Sunday. I did my best, but honestly going and watching this marathon was absolutely crazy, but it was so much fun. So my total on Sunday came out to be $83.49. And just to break this down for you a little bit more, since I know it wasn't super clear in the clips that I got. So I spent about $20, $19.80 on public transportation. So that's taking the bus to and from New York City, as well as the subways that we took to get around all day because we were going to different points on the marathon route. Then I also spent $14.74 on snacks during the day, so I got like some fries and like a bagel and things like that during the day. And then actually in the evening I spent an additional $30 whenever I got home because it was way later than I was anticipating and I was hungry and I was not in the mood to cook, so I ordered dinner for myself. I got some Uber Eats for it that night. And then finally I also spent $19.14 on a charger. We literally ran around New York City trying to find ourselves a charger. We were both very desperate. Christina, my friend that I was there with, only had like, her phone like was actually like out and my phone was on like 10%. So I was like, I need a charger before the end of this day. We did not come prepared with our portable chargers. Lesson learned. Going back into budgeting. So my preferred way of budgeting is to allocate my monthly income into basically one of three categories. So I'll have like my recurring subscriptions / living expenses. So that includes like rent, it includes things like my Netflix subscription, it includes electricity, internet, like all of that kind of stuff that I kind of know to expect and know exactly how much it's going to be every month. That's kind of going in one category. Next, I have my savings category, which we already kind of talked through, so that's all of my sinking funds. And then finally I have my like actual like monthly varying expenses category. And I would encourage you, if you are starting to budget a little bit more, is to first just spend a month just trying to figure out and track where your money is going. Honestly, I would spend like 2 to 3 months doing this before you really try to start nailing down a budget, because even just being aware of your spending, you're gonna subconsciously start to see patterns in it, and then once you've done that, you're able to change those patterns. But you can't change anything until you actually know what's going on. I do actually have a tracker that I use, and I'm working on revamping it for you guys, but in the meantime it is linked below. It's in my Etsy shop, but there's a ton on Etsy if you're looking for something like that. You can also easily just start on your own with an Excel spreadsheet, or there's always apps out there that you can use as well to help track all of that kind of stuff. So I would encourage you just to start looking at that kind of thing and paying attention to that. Something that I've noticed is since I've really started budgeting is I didn't necessarily purposefully try to change the way that I was spending things, but I was just more aware, and therefore I feel like I made more deliberate and purposeful purchases whenever I was buying something, because it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna have to write this down later, and how is this gonna affect my purchasing? Is this something that's out of the norm for me, or is this something that's pretty normal for me? Is it something that's normal that I kind of want to change? And it's like those thoughts kind of happen subconsciously after you get into the habit of really budgeting on a regular basis. The final thing that I just want to say whenever it comes to budgeting and money and spending is I was pretty hesitant to make this video because I do feel like budgeting and finances are just so unique to every person in different stages of life, in different places. No two people's finances or situations are going to look the same. So definitely something to keep in mind when you're watching a video like this, which is why I really wanted to just kind of pepper this video with ways to prioritize your spending and just find more balance with it, because that is always what we strive for over here. With that, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, then make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!